Today I'm going to show you the equipment and tools. God damn, the washer is on a spin cycle. Let's wait for that to stop. I am Marcus Feldbaum. I travel, I experience, and I create. This is my art. Now, the gear I use to make art videos. What worked and what didn't work, and it sure was a learning process. First off though, please hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. I will list all the gear in the description, so no need to take notes. First off, the camera. When I first thought of filming my drawing process, I remembered that I still had a high-definition video camera, a camcorder, which had seen a lot of use when the kids were little, the baby cam. When I tried to film my art with the baby cam though, I quickly realized that it was not ideal for what I was trying to do. I couldn't adjust the white balance, I couldn't lock in the focus. This camcorder was great for filming little children chasing the family dog or vice versa, but not so great for YouTubing. Next, I turned to my camera that takes excellent still images, the Sony ILCE5100. It is rather small when it comes to mirrorless cameras that have interchangeable lenses. It is smaller than the palm of my hand and even fits into my jean pockets, sort of. Which is why I bought it, so I wouldn't be dragging 6 pounds of gear around on my travels. Might as well have a sign around my neck saying I'm a tourist with a lot of expensive technology, please rob me. The Sony 5100 can take HD videos, but until now I only used that feature for a few minutes at a time. Now that I needed to film an hour or two in one go, I soon found out that after 10 or 15 minutes, the camera starts to overheat and shut itself off without any notice, which makes it pretty useless for my purpose. I'm trying to draw, not check every minute if the camera is still on. I started to research if there were any dedicated vlogging cameras out there. And of course, there are lots of videos just on that topic. Most cameras have a video record time limit though. Some shut themselves off after 15 minutes, others after 30 minutes. What a pain! Finally, I came across the Sony ILCE5100. It's slightly bigger than my 5100, so it doesn't overheat. When it accepts all lenses that I had already bought for the 5100. Another win. And what did he say? It has no record time limit? And it films in 4K? I thought this is the camera for me. Until I glanced at the price and oh dear, at $900 for the body alone? I didn't want to spend that much money just to make art videos. Plus, several YouTube people had warned new YouTubers about having gas. Yep, gear acquisition syndrome. And while a little microphone here and an additional light there might not break the bank, spending almost $1,000 on a new camera was just too much. What else could I use to film my drawings? And just like the proverbial light bulb went on over my head, I thought of the camera I use almost every day. A camera that is capable of shooting in 4K. Yep, you probably guessed it by now, my smartphone. In my case, it's an iPhone 6s. As I found out, there are also a whole bunch of apps out there that make the most of the camera in your phone. The one I chose in the end was an app called Pro Movie. It lets me manipulate all the aspects of the video that I would like to adjust. I can lock the focus on the paper surface, I can adjust the white balance to daylight, I can also set the aperture, ISO, etc., etc. After several test shoots, I decided that the iPhone is doing a decent job of capturing video. Let's use the iPhone then. Plus, it's already paid for. In order to mount the iPhone above my watercolor pad, I use a microphone stand with a camera adapter and a smartphone mount. This setup holds the phone securely and competently. Also, because the phone is now mounted on its own stand, It doesn't pick up any vibrations when I go wild while erasing pencil marks or doing cross-hatching with a pen. I still use my Sony 5100 for shorter shots, such as side shots or when I film an introduction. For those purposes, I usually stick the camera on a little tripod. It's just big enough to get the camera off the table surface, and it lets me adjust the camera angle with ease. The portrait lens I use with the 5100 creates a buttery bokeh effect that slightly blurs the picture behind my head. Yes, it's a picture of a Citroën 2CV. I'm old-fashioned when it comes to cars. What can I say? Image stabilization. For those sweeping shots, when the camera is not locked down in a holder or a tripod, I use a gimbal. In case you don't know, a gimbal lets you keep the camera steady even after you had too much caffeine for breakfast. Do you need a gimbal? Probably not. Your camera might already have some form of image stabilization built in, and the software you're using for editing might also have some image stabilizer plugin. I know that in Adobe Premiere Pro, there is a warp image stabilizer, which is great for fixing that shaky footage. Although, once you apply that plugin, you can't use some other effects with the stabilizer enabled. So, while you don't need a gimbal for those handheld shots, it sure makes life easier, for me anyways. Lighting. From experience with taking slides of my paintings a long while back, I remember that you don't want to use regular light bulbs to light your art. Commercial household light bulbs have different color temperatures, most of them casting warm yellowish light, which is generally pleasing to the eye, but it also discolors your art, which isn't great. After looking around a bit, I decided to get a floor lamp that is capable of producing cool light, daylight, just around 5600 Kelvin. I made the first video using the floor lamp, and I noticed that the lighting was still just so-so and somewhat dull. More research was in order. And in the end, I purchased a professional video light. This thing has an adjustable light output, and when turned to 100%, puts out enough light to make you want to wear sunglasses indoors. I have it pointed up at the ceiling, which gives me a nicely diffused light that helps avoid severe shadows. Oh, and my wife now also uses it when she's cutting hair. It helps her see what she's doing. And that's another plus. Sound. It didn't take long to realize that any sound captured by the iPhone or the camera's onboard microphone will always sound far away with lots of surrounding noise. I got a small lapel mic that plugs into my iPhone, and that, in combination with the iPhone's Voice Memos app, does a decent job of capturing the audio. I then clean up any pops and clicks in Adobe Audition before importing the audio into Adobe Premiere to overlay it to the video footage it belongs to. When I'm cleaning up audio, I use my AKG headphones that I got back when I was still making music. And talking about music, when it comes to background music, there are several resources available, and many YouTube videos have been made on the topic comparing different providers. I use Epidemic Sounds. They have a ton of music. I can browse by genre, track length, and the like. One can purchase individual tracks, but you might be better off with their monthly subscription service. In my opinion, they are pretty reasonably priced, and I get to download as much music as I need. Putting it all together. As I mentioned before, I use Adobe Premiere Pro as my video editing software. I know, Adobe this and Adobe that. I have a monthly subscription I use for InDesign and Photoshop, so the use of all the apps is included in my subscription plan. Therefore, I use Adobe products rather than Apple or other software. This might be different for you. I'm sure there are other capable video editing software programs out there. I'd say if you already have some software installed in your machine, use what you have when you start out, rather than spending a lot of money on software right away. Some software programs also have free trial periods where you can see if you like the software and if it is worth buying. I started out in iMovie because I'm working on a Mac and iMovie came pre-installed on my machine. And it did a decent job. But when I tried to overlay several audio as well as video tracks, I realized I had to switch to a program that could handle all of those tasks. And that just about does it. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions. I will try to answer them. Please subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and thanks for watching.